Hello, welcome to our presentation. My name is Aspasia, Dania, and together with my colleague Alan Ovens, we're going to present a study entitled A Collaborative Autoethnographic Exploration in the dialogic Interactions in Academia. So let me introduce who we are. My name is Aspasia Dania. I'm working at the University of Athens in Greece, and together with my colleague Alan Ovens from the University of Auckland, New Zealand, we're both teacher educators and presenting today a part of our study that we have engaged during the last 4 years, investigating our dialogic interactions as part of our professional development. We're both working in the field of physical education, teacher education, and we're eager to explore how we're developing professionally with the use of dialogue. So our presentation is divided in 6 parts. We're going to share with you the aim of our presentation, the why we engage with dialogue under the Deleuzian perspective, and then present the way that we used collaborative autoethnography to investigate our dialogic events and the conclusions that we came after analyzing the results of this autoethnography. So why did we engage in dialogue? As I already mentioned, we wanted very much to explore the dialogic interactions and how these are occurring in academia. We think that the part of the way of who we are and how do we enact our academic identity depends very much on our academic cultures, on our university context, and the way that these entangle with human and non-human entities, because these things and their interdependent connections determine which things will be visible and which will be not, or which things will be ignored and never seen again. And this has to do very much with the way that we frame ourselves and our interactions within our university context. So all this interconnectedness made us eager to study dialogue as part of our academic becoming. So we wanted in this study to investigate our dialogic interactions as a way of explicating how the emergent, messy, and interdeterminate ways of our academic collaboration serve to facilitate and enhance our professional development as teacher educators. Why did we engage in dialogue? When we ran into literature, we found many definitions and many ways of examining and presenting the interdependentness of dialogue. Actually, dialogue is a conversation. It's either a verbal or a written interchange between two or more persons. And through these dialogic interactions, people connect with one another, exchange information, use dialogue to share perspective, validate ideas, and confirm identities, and maybe through this process go and enact action. So this is part of our everyday life in the academic context and made us very eager to examine how it happens and how it develops between interactions occurring between academics. But for us, it was not enough. We came into readings, Deleuzian readings, and these are the readings that brought us here, brought us to the International Symposium of Autoethnography and narrative. What does Deleuze think about dialogue? According to the Deleuzian perspective, the I and the other in dialogue redistribute. The other is not an other. It's an expression of a possible word. It's not a subject or an object. And the way that the other connects with I makes both the I and the other redistribute. And what is fascinating about this redistribution is that it becomes a contour, the configuration and the constellation of an event to come. Within this event that is constantly becoming, difference or multiplicity attain a central place and makes us reject everything that is considered binary. We are male or female, we're academics from Europe or academics from New Zealand. It's this interchange that these oppositions work in favor of our becoming and of our dynamic understanding of reality. And this trajectory that is happening between alpha and beta, A and B, alpha and beta is in Greek, and from B to A belongs to both. Dialogue doesn't belong to me and going to the other person, or from the other person to me. It belongs to both, and this belonging creates a state where me and the other, A and B, become invisible in all the planes of dialogue. And I think this was the most fascinating part of the Deleuzean perspective of dialogue, that you become so immersed in the dialogic event that you lose your eye and you become eager to explore what is constantly becoming as part of the interaction. So based on these Deleuzean understandings, we developed two major research questions. The first was, how can professional dialogue enable us to become as academics? And the other has to do with the use of collaborative autoethnography. How can the study of the self be connected and be conducted in the company of others? And how can this contribute to our understanding of the developing group culture? So we engage with collaborative autoethnography, and we engage with data that had to do with our biographic events occurring through the process of 3 years virtual communication and 1 year face-to-face communication. This data had to do with email communications, Zoom meetings, face-to-face discussions, and collaborations about our teaching projects. We focus on the unfoldings of our space and time events as this happened during the process of our collaboration. And within this, we didn't explore ourselves. We explore ourselves in relation with the discursive and the material agency of our interactions. And we wanted to analyze how the social cultural context that we were living in influenced the way that we enacted and lived our dialogic experiences. So we thought that collaborative autoethnography was the most was a very useful methodology for enacting the way that the exploration and the examination that we were eager to enact. So first of all, we engaged in self-writing and reflection of our dialogic events as these were chosen by each one of us. Afterwards, we shared them and we engaged in some preliminary meaning making, so that afterwards the individual meaning making became a group meaning making. We outlined the basic concepts, and here we are presenting our results. So some parts of our autoethnographic data had to do with our events and occurrences in our dialogue that were very tentative. As it says here, so it's very tentative. It's capturing a sense of evolution to me. To this point, these dimensions are in play and are very much deepening. And another response to this was, dialogues helped me very much find the performative aspect of myself. As we are analyzing our autoethnographic data, we came to three major results. First of all, it was very difficult to escape the I in our conversations, in our memories, in our biographies. And apart from the I, it was very difficult to escape its representational logic, the way that this I represented who we are. But this movement forwards and backwards that took place during our collaborative ethnography with writing, editing, collaborating, interacting, and worrying how the performance of our academic identities will be enacted enabled us to reflect not only about ourselves, but about this exchange of the I and the other. So by attending to this simultaneity and open-endedness of interplay of our difference and of our connectedness is what made us ethically response-able to our interaction. We were eager to be and able to study what was happening, what was occurring, what was becoming with us, between us, and within us as part of our dialogues. And this made us so much immersed in the process of dialogue that we came to four major conclusions. First of all, we realized that dialogue is both productive and agentic, both in the sense of the openness that it created between the two of us in the shared space of ours, and in our responsibility towards others, towards colleagues, towards our networks, towards our students. Also, we're very much determined that for the next years and for the year to come, the topic of our inquiries, as well as the target of our reflections, will be dialogue. Because by inquiring and reflecting on this, we are eager and we are starting to know and who we are becoming in a relational process. And this has to do sometimes with exposure and challenge, but this exposure and challenge it makes us also challenge some normalized understandings and the way that these are enacted in our everyday academic interactions. And by doing so, we believe very much that this paves the way for attuning to more complex interplay of different and sameness, and the way that this can unfold or sometimes surface. So it makes us eager to develop, makes us open to develop, and not statically reproduce and present in our academic identity. So we find very much value on the process of dialogue, and we encourage you, if you are interested and engaged in studying as well the process of dialogue, to come into contact with us if you have any questions, queries, and if you want to know more about the project that we're running on academic dialogue, please feel free to contact us. Again, thank you very much for being and attending this presentation from me, Aspasia, Dania, and my colleague, Alan Ovens. We wish you have a very lovely attendance of the conference and Happy New Year. Thank you very much for being here with us.